Good evening. Welcome to REACT DC's first annual World Refugee Day celebration. My name is Sarah Katie, aka Sarah John to many of you in this room, and I'm the CEO of REACT DC. We are humbled and honored that you have chosen to spend tonight with us to learn more about the refugee resettlement experience in the United States. You will learn more about REACT DC throughout the night, but I want to highlight that REACT was founded in September 2021 by Amy Martin after Afghanistan fell to the Taliban on August 15, 2021. As the third year anniversary of that date approaches, I can't help but think about what I would do if I was forced to flee for my life in the matter of a few hours. What if I was at work, doing what I loved, supporting a cause that I believed in, and my husband, Tay, called and said we need to leave now or we could die? Would he go to our kids' school? Would I go home and grab life-saving medicine, passports, clothing, food? Who would we have time to say goodbye to, knowing we might never see them again? For many of us here tonight, those are unfathomable questions, leading to impossible split-second decisions. Yet for many others in the room tonight, my current and former staff, clients, and community members, they were forced to make those heart-wrenching choices because they supported our troops, believed in democracy and equality for women and girls. For those people who are here tonight who have lived the refugee experience and are choosing to volunteer, to work for, and to serve newcomers, thank you. It has been the greatest privilege of my life to work beside you. As most of you know, REACT DC was recently approved by the State Department to open a refugee resettlement office in collaboration with the International Rescue Committee, and we got the keys to our Ashbourne office on June 1st. Last week, we accepted our first case, who we expect to travel in the coming weeks. The case is comprised of a single mother, teenage son, and a profoundly disabled young daughter. They're from Afghanistan. When we accepted the case, I laid awake most of the night, worried about the daughter's medical condition, and mom being the sole wage earner, fearful that this family would never be able to pay for the exorbitant rent in Northern Virginia. Then I remembered that my REACT staff members, Amiri and Frishta, and I would meet this family at the airport. I remembered that Faria and Hasib would help her find a job immediately. That Safi, Zargan, Lima, and Roshan's legal team would help her apply for a green card, and that Allison would enroll her in our Women's Empowerment Program. I know that she will be met with deep compassion and empathy the minute she lands at Dulles, and there will certainly be obstacles, but she will ultimately thrive because of this incredible community of volunteers, nonprofits, federations, veterans, and other individuals in this room. Tasha Kaur, thank you. We got this. It is now my pleasure to start this evening's program by inviting REACT DC's Board Secretary, Lisa Maddock, to the stage, who will introduce our keynote speaker.
Hello everybody, welcome. Thank you for coming. It's my honor to introduce Ambassador Neumann. His service to our country is incredible and inspiring. He appears to have a knack for jumping headfirst into the most pressing and complicated international issues of the time, to include serving in Vietnam as an Army infantryman, serving in Baghdad with the Coalition Provisional Authority, and then as Embassy Baghdad's liaison with Multinational Command, and serving as ambassador in Algeria, Bahrain, and Afghanistan, of course. These assignments are just a few among many other pivotal positions and postings during his career in the U.S. State Department's Foreign Service. This is a man who takes on big challenges. During my past career as an intelligence officer, I saw firsthand how effective and beloved Ambassador Neumann was as a leader on national security issues. Yes, he possessed incredible in-depth expertise, but he also did something a lot of other leaders fail to do. He listened. And he got to know people and the cultures around him. He cared. He still cares. I have deep respect for his work and his legacy. Ambassador Neumann.
thank you for that slightly over-the-top introduction. It is a real pleasure to be here, and thank you, Lisa, thank you, Sarah, Amy Martin, who got me involved in this, and so many friends and colleagues from the past. I really don't, I know we've got a big program, I don't want to do too much. For those of you who don't know me, you may know that I had the pleasure of first going to Afghanistan in 1967. So I had what now is a particular pleasure of remembering the Afghanistan that was. Its days of peace. I went with my wife at that point. We were a very young couple, now we're a somewhat older couple. But we had 3.5 months between when I finished graduate school and when I had to report for the Army. And so we did what lots of young couples did. We went to stay with my parents. Just happened that my parents were in Afghanistan because my father was ambassador in Afghanistan, which makes us one of only 3 father-sons to have run the same embassy. There'll be a test later on who the other 2 were. And so being old enough to travel on our own and unemployed enough to do so, we traveled all over Afghanistan. In those days, we were in Lashkar. I hunted gazelle outside Lashkar in the plains. We drove ourselves from Kandahar to Kabul. Went with an American and his geologist, his Afghan counterpart, all the way through the Hazarajat from Herat to Kabul. Tried the hot springs at Gobi, stayed at Bamiyan, camped at Bandia there. And a little later, I went with a hunting party, although I was just taking a camera, up into the Wakhan, where we went past Faizabad, all the way to the end of the road, and then by horse along the Amadara, and then by yak up into the Pamirs. While I was doing that, my wife went down through Kabul Gorge, the Khyber Pass, and went shopping in Peshawar. Had a certain amount of adventure when they lost a big part of the clutch. So we saw a lot of Afghanistan in those much better days. Well, I thought I might just take a few minutes to talk about where we are in terms of policies. I know some of you would want to ask those questions. There isn't a whole lot to say. I do not expect much to come out of this Doha meeting. I think it will happen, but I don't think it will produce very much. I think that there will be some meetings of the international community with civil society, but I don't think that there will be what they would like, which is forcing the civil society on the Taliban. Simply because I think the international community lacks the ability to press the Taliban, much as I wish they could do more. I think what you will see, or what's operating behind this, and I'm really simplifying and skating through all this complicated stuff, but there is an effort to hold together the international consensus of not recognizing the Taliban and keeping some measure of pressure on them about reforms, including such critical areas as women's rights. But this is happening even while, in fact, real interests are somewhat diverging. Because with Iran, Russia, the regional states, their primary interest, first of all, is anti-terrorism. Second, it's avoiding a collapse, because especially the regional states are absolutely terrified might be too strong a word, but they're extremely afraid of large-scale refugee movements if there is a further collapse inside Afghanistan. And so what you're seeing is a gradual movement of increased trade relations, some of them beginning to house Taliban embassies, yet so far maintaining a consensus of not formally recognizing the Taliban, which irritates them, which is great. In the short run, I have to say that it's a pretty dark picture. I wish I had better news for you, but I think it's more important to be honest. But there are things working. There are splits within the Taliban. There are clearly a lot of policy divisions between particularly the group holding power in Kabul, ministerial level, and what might be called the Kandahar group, for want of a better term. I do not think those splits will lead to an open break in the Taliban. They've maintained their unity for 20 years under bombing, international pressure. They're very aware that to split may be to fail. This is holding them together despite all the pressures. But the pressures will go on. There's a lot of unhappiness that all of you know, talking to your friends and family that are still in Afghanistan. There is a holding together of the Kandahar group because of the allegiance to Khalid. Someday he goes. It'd be nice if it was sooner, but maybe later. But then there will be a lot of power shifting. I don't know where these things will go. In the long run, I hold out still a degree of hope. I've seen Afghanistan at a much better time. I think there have been so many seeds planted of the modern world, of women's employment, of commerce, of rights, of desire for a different kind of world. I don't believe all those seeds have just withered and died. Many of them may be lying fallow in the ground, waiting for another time to emerge and maybe to lead. It will never be the Afghanistan it was. It will never be the Afghanistan of the first Taliban regime. What it will be, I have no idea. But Afghanistan has displayed an almost breathtaking ability to surprise us. It's sometimes been called the land of the empire of, the Imperial Graveyard, but it might better be characterized as the place of infinite surprises, because it has gone through multiple changes, multiple revolutions of ups and downs. So I think one should never be so pessimistic as to rule out the further change. I don't know how, I don't know when. I would say to say I'm optimistic would probably be excessive, but at the same time to say that one is just purely pessimistic, no, I wouldn't say that. In the meantime, of course, all of you are here and face the challenge of getting on, building your new lives. And this is a hugely difficult problem. Many of you, most of you perhaps, have come from having higher status positions, being in respected jobs in the community. It is very hard to start over again, often at a much lower level in the United States. But I would say to you that this is something which every immigrant community has gone through and come out. And when you look around and you see someone came before you in the Afghan community, Iranians, Greeks, Italians, Irish, none of them jumped into prominent positions in business and society right off the boat, or nowadays off the plane. But they did. They persevered, and they did emerge. And their children and their grandchildren have lived a better life because of it. And I think that is possible, very possible, for the incredible creativity and hard work that I know Afghans are capable of. And so all I can do is to wish you every success in your lives here, even as we hope for better days in Afghanistan. But don't let the waiting for Afghanistan make you immobile while you're here. Thank you very much.
Good evening. I'm Charles O'Brien. I'm with SOS International. I'm humbled to be speaking in a room full of so many great humanitarians, public servants, those who sacrifice so much. So thank you for the opportunity. I'm here to present as a keynote speaker, Seyoum Berhe, but before I do so, I'd like to just take a moment to speak about our company, SOS International. We're founded by our Sosi Setin back in 1989. Sosi immigrated here from Bulgaria, but her family was a family of refugees from Armenia who settled in Bulgaria in the early 20th century. And then eventually she made her way to New York City, and in addition to many other talents, she spoke multiple languages, became a professor at Columbia University, and started a company on the side of her apartment. And that company, now 35 years later, continues to support her life mission of enabling communications to those who have barriers to access to services. We continue to serve the refugee, migrant, and immigration populations, serving immigration courts across the country, serving along the border, helping to receive and process newly arrived, we call it non-citizen migrants, those in need along the southwest border, running shelters in San Antonio and El Paso for unaccompanied children. And however you think of politically how things should be, the first time you see a toddler who is unaccompanied is enough to make you forget about anything else and think about what should be in your heart and the care that they need and the assistance. And there's so many people that are willing to help if they were just given a chance to help. Finally, I would just like to say that as a partner with REACT DC, we encourage you to continue to support resettlement agencies, resettlement organizations. We as a corporate partner bring larger scale integrations, but we also bring the same heart, again, the heart of the humanitarians who are here to serve. I'd like to just transition over to Seyoum Berhe, known as one of the more innovative and collaborative leaders of such individuals in this room, and I'm just going to read through his bio real quick. Seyoum is the Virginia State Refugee Coordinator and Director of Office of New Americans. And before becoming the SRC, he was Director of Catholic Charities, Migration and Refugee Services for 15 years. Seyoum has also worked for the American University in Washington, D.C., and as the Director in the Office of Development and as a Coordinator of Multicultural Services Center with the Ethiopian Community Development Council. He's conducted interpretation, translation, and Amharic to Guinea and Saho, and he's also an experienced trainer, having conducted interpreter training and cultural competence programs for the past decade. He's an experienced trainer and mediator accustomed to working with culturally diverse communities and facilitating dialogue towards resolving conflict. And through his career, he has conducted program evaluation, implementation, and monitoring to ensure plans are put into practice. Seyoum is a recipient of the 2021 Virginia Governor's Award, 2016 FBI Director's National Community Leadership Award, and 2024 ECDC recipient of the Public Service Award. Seyoum was born in a small village in East Africa, came to the United States on scholarship to study in the seminary. He has a BA in History, Master's degree in Education Administration from Niagara University, and a certificate in Conflict Resolution from George Mason University. So I'd like to welcome Seyoum.
Good evening, everyone, or good afternoon. I think it's late to say that, but what I want to say, Ambassador, thank you for all the services you provided us. That's the beauty of this country, so thank you. I always take notes, PowerPoint, and I never use it. Because maybe my brain is not that big, so I do talk from the end, and that's all I do. I know Zahra said, don't bore people, just try to be a little bit energetic, and I said, and you invite me to come from Richmond to drive in 395 and come here, I might take a nap here. When I look at everybody here, my hope, my dream, my positive feeling of where Virginia is and where Virginia is going is exciting. Because there is a reason all of you to come here for a new agency. That says a lot. And Sarah, congratulations for being given a chance to resettle refugee in Virginia. I want to publicly welcome you to Virginia. You have been in Virginia, very active anyway, but I'm very excited to have another agency doing this great job, this Americana. We are better off because of the people who come here. We always are better off because of that. And they are better off. The hope, I know every one of you have something that you believe in, some faith that brings you here. Maybe it's your religion, faith in God. Maybe it is faith in these people who come to this country without knowing anything about this country that they will make it. Maybe it is your faith in humanity. I know it's not your faith of the dictators like in Afghanistan. I know that's not there. But maybe you really believe in the Americana that I believe in. A human experiment that keeps stronger, keeps going. Every time one thinks, oh, they're going down. No, we never go down. Because we have so many people around the world that come with so much creativity. You see, refugees who come to this country are quote-unquote troublemakers. They're not the quiet ones. They're the smart ones that challenge the biggest and the fools on the top of the world. So, and that's as American as it can be. We're not known to be obedient, as you, Ambassador, will correct me if I'm wrong, but we've never known to be obedient. We're troublemaker. We like to be free. We like to be independent. We don't even trust our own government. That's how crazy we are. But that's American. And the people who come to this country come with that zeal, with that fundamental mission. I know since 1900, everybody comes here and they think, at least the parents, I'm going to go back. I don't want to depress anybody. I'm going to tell you because I start with myself. We're home. We're not going back anywhere. Every time people ask me, where are you from? I have responded many times, and don't laugh, Niagara Falls, New York, and they, excuse me? Yeah, as cold as it was. That's where I spend most of my time. And I say that not to discourage people to make Afghanistan better, not to discourage, to change Afghanistan as a better nation, but I want people to feel they are home and make home here and make this country stronger and encourage this country to lead by its own mission and dream. That's the best country we can find. And I know it takes courage. I mean, just imagine a single mother with kids running away from Taliban. As you heard my bio, I was a resettlement director. I have personally picked people at the airport. I do remember a mother bringing 3 kids from Afghanistan. Her son fell as she was running away from Taliban. Thanks for the medical miracle in this country. He's fine now, but he became epilepsy, and that mother's suffering. I will also tell you, when we were at the Dallas airport, and as I always say, the coffee from Red Cross tasted really good at 3 o'clock in the morning, by the way. I remember telling my team to tell these people, welcome, not just verbally, speak to them with your eyes. You should mean it, you should show it. This 6-foot-something big guy comes with 11-year-old boy who was a bit confused, and his father was following him. And I just went and said, are you okay? He spoke English. He said, I'm okay, but my son watched me get beat up by Taliban, and he's having difficulty. Those are the people that liberty welcomes to this country. Every time, and I was in New York, I'm sure you can tell this accent, by the way, is not New York accent, so don't go there. But every time I looked at liberty, I remember people like me coming here and making their home and owning it and being empowered to hire and fire our leaders. What more do I want? I just want to tell all refugees and former refugees here, the best integration is to be a citizen and to become very powerful. That's how you are really become part of this nation. It is important to keep that in mind. Virginia is absolutely fine. It's one, I know some people might not like it, it's the best state. The Commonwealth of Virginia. Sorry. Do we have my Maryland neighbors here? Oops, I'm sorry. I knew that, by the way. But Virginia is, and look at this, Northern Virginia is really a phenomenal place. Expensive, I know. And it's not easy to resettle. So, here is where you come in. I know you believe in this. Your faith in God, your faith in America, your faith in refugee, your faith in humanity, you have the courage not just to come here to help refugees. But this is where my last comment is. Helping is good, but it has to be done very carefully. You see, these are, I told you, they're troublemakers. They're also very capable. Please understand when you help refugees, start thinking how they can help themselves without being dependent on you. It's really important. They might not love you the first time, but in the long run, you're going to do me and do them a great favor if you help them to help themselves. Be honest with them. Because when I came here, going to Niagara Falls, New York, I left the best clothes I had, my suit, everything in the country I was born in. Because streets are painted with gold in America, isn't it? I swear I thought that. I froze my neck off. Somebody bought me an Eskimo-looking huge jacket in September. I wore it and everybody in campus was laughing at me. And then I realized my sophomore year, I was running with a t-shirt in snow like everybody else. We can adjust. So don't think that they're always going to depend on you. No, don't, because help them, be honest. Talk to them. You want to learn about their country. That's where you start. Don't say, I want to help you. No. They might not need your help. They might need information. They might need support. They might need to be empowered to feel welcome. That's number one. The resettlement agencies will do good, and if you hear a complaint, always respond. I did that. I have a family in my basement right now. Don't tell DSS that. I do. And one day, husband, wife, 4 kids, and they complain, should I call the agency to go to buy something? And I said, why? Well, shouldn't they? No, they don't have to. Tell them thank you. I will take you now, but I want you to be thankful for everything you get. They're not legally obligated to get you everything to take you everywhere. You have to learn. They might not like me this month, they will like me later on. So I want to appreciate what you do. I want you to look at Virginia as your home, permanent home, and all these volunteers, for whatever reason that you believe in here, make sure refugees understand what this country is all about. Make sure they become helpers, not dependents on you. Show them where they can help. We're wasting so much intelligence and capacity. They need to help us. That's America. It's not always helping. It needs help something. So this is the country. It's your country, stay in it. Don't go anywhere except to change the Taliban government. Thank you very much.
We are proud to show a screening of Now I'm Here, a Georgetown University social justice documentary that beautifully captures the essence of RAFT DC. This film takes you on a journey through our founding, the impactful Women's Empowerment Program, and the inspiring story of our RAFT legal intern, Zahra Salar. Zahra's experiences from her life before and after the Taliban highlight the incredible resilience and courage of individuals striving for justice and empowerment. This documentary is a product of the Social Justice Documentary class at Georgetown University, a unique course that combines documentary filmmaking, film and media studies, and social justice theory. Led by dedicated instructors, students work closely with DC-based community organizations to produce short documentaries that address pressing social justice issues. We extend our deepest gratitude to the remarkable documentary crew who brought our stories to life. Olivia Burns, Director of Audio, Sofia Kemeny, Producer, Sudeeksha Yadav, Director of Image, and Hailey Wharram, Editor. Your passion and talent have made this film a powerful testament to the enduring human spirit and the relentless pursuit of justice. Thank you for joining on this journey, and we hope Now I'm Here resonates with you as deeply as it did with us.
Post August 15, 2021 is being campaigned as gender apartheid. There was almost an overnight change for women and girls, and I can't express that enough. Imagine your university overnight, all you women and girls who identify as women and girls are plucked out. All the seats that are left empty. Imagine marketplaces where all of a sudden you take a static shot of that space and you pluck all the women and girls out of there. So imagine those settings, and so this is what happens after August 15th, 2021, and I want to start. And if you're on social media and you're seeing women bravely resist Taliban edicts and go out into the streets and protest, I'm also going to give you some hope here, because there is a lot of hope in our history, and it's not always revealed, and in the West, it's not always framed in a hopeful way.
Zahra, whenever you are ready, if you just want to give a little bit of an introduction about yourself.
I can kind of divide it into two parts: my life before Taliban and my life after Taliban. I was in grade 12, I believe. Yeah, I was in grade 12 in 2021 when Taliban took Afghanistan, and then before that, before 2021, I was cycling. I'm a race cyclist, so I was cycling. I was part of a large team of including girls and boys, and then we were cycling every Friday. We had two goals. I personally had two goals. One of my goals was to normalize girls cycling in Afghanistan, and the other one was to kind of build my friendship with people. And so that was a great experience. Like when I go back to my memories, to my photos, when I see the pictures of my cycling, that really gave me a very good feeling. And also I was going to school. That's part of everyone's life. we had a lot of fun stuff together, fun stories, gossips. Yeah, and but after Taliban, it just kind of became a nightmare. Imagine like you sleep at night, and in the morning you wake up and you see like you see like there is no future behind you. Like you cannot go to school, you cannot cycle anymore. I was like, what? It's 21st century, and I'm experiencing this while my mom experienced the same thing in the 90s. So what's going on? Like it's 21st century, and everyone in the world that they are doing miracles. Like people are going to space and doing all this stuff, but here in my country, I'm not able to go to school. Like it was something that seemed so childish, so crazy to me. But yeah, that was the fact that I had to accept, and I accepted. And now I'm working as an intern at FADC. It's been more than 1 month that I started working here, and my motivation for working here was kind of help refugees, the same as myself. I'm helping them with legal stuff like EADs, like filling applications, and I'm really happy and glad helping other refugees as myself.
One of the things I'm most proud of about REACT DC is not only that we're Afghan-led, but that we are women-led. We were founded by a very strong woman named Amy Martin, who saw what was happening from her home and said, I need to do something. As a military spouse, we know how to get people into houses. We know how to get kids enrolled in school. We know how to resettle really quickly. And she went onto a military spouse page and said, put the call out, who wants to help, the Afghans that are coming to this area. And within days, she had thousands of volunteers who were predominantly military spouses, and they were women. As we grew, as we created more departments, she was still pulling from that military spouse community and really empowering us. Many of us have to give up careers as military spouse. We move all over the world. We lose our certifications. It's difficult to maintain a career. And so she took a chance on a lot of us that had been out of the workforce for a long time and said, I believe in you because I know what you're capable of. And so the majority of our directors are female. We're female-led. And that transference to empowering Afghan women through our women's empowerment program is we are proof that you can do it. We are, the majority of us in leadership are women, and we are showing how to lead, from the front, and how to make it happen with kids and with a career. And we get to model that for the women that we work with.
Where do you want to close, Allison?
So today we are doing a distribution of goods for the women's program. We are partnered with the Greater DC Diaper Bank, and so every month we get 5,000 diapers that we are able to give to our families. They also provide wipes for the children, and then an assortment of other donated goods, from formula to food to shampoos, diaper rash cream, postpartum care products, along with really anything you can think of that might be necessary for a family. The whole women's program started because we were noticing a severe lack of services for women. A lot of the services were going to men or for their children, and we were seeing a really big mental health issue with the women. They were very isolated, they were at home, they weren't getting assimilated to the environment, to the town, making friends, kind of rebuilding that support network that is so vital to their culture in Afghanistan. And so having these events has allowed them to meet each other, make friends, know who their neighbors are, because some of them didn't even know. And so now they ride together, they carpool. Their kids have gotten to know each other. When we first got started with the women's program, I was fearful no one was going to show up because it was a new program. And our first event, we had about 30 women come. And I was thrilled, and they were excited. There was lots of things to talk about. And one of the women came up to me and said, I wasn't sure if I should come because I had a lot of anxiety. I didn't know anyone. I wasn't sure what to do. She goes, I feel so much better leaving and being here. I got to meet people. I made friends. I exchanged phone numbers. And that was our goal. That was for the first event. That is what we wanted to happen. And so having someone verbalize that, I knew we were on the right track.
I think having our office be majority of a legal clinic, we get every day there's a win. Every day there's a letter saying someone got asylum or someone got family reunification or someone got their EAD. And I think being able to celebrate those little wins that mean the world to these families, you can find something to celebrate every day when you serve the community that way. And it can be difficult when you're, crossing cultural bounds and when you're serving a really large community and we're a really small staff. You can feel like you're pulled in a million different directions and that you're not doing enough. And then you'll have a mother, come up to us at a women's event and in tears telling us how she got accepted to a medical assistant program and that she's going to be able to help provide for her family. And it gets you a little bit, verklempt where it's those ones and twosies stories, where it's the small wins that add up to these huge life-changing events. And that, this mom was, it's not that big of a deal because she used to be in the medical community back in Afghanistan. We're like, no, it's a huge deal. You're both mastering a new language and a new skill. And now you get to help support your family and look what you can provide and look what you're teaching your children, that you can accomplish anything you put your mind to.
Education is the most important part of my life that I'm planning to continue. I will start my college this fall, and I plan to major in biochemistry and eventually go to medical school. I was only 16, and then it was too much for me to go through all of those harsh moments. But now I'm here and I did it. Now I'm out of that nightmare and I'm here building my future, helping others and trying to be a positive change for women in Afghanistan in the future.
To provide crucial support to Afghan families resettling in the United States. His deep ties to Afghanistan, cultivated through years of service with the U.S. military and subsequent visits, underscore his profound commitment to humanitarian efforts. Beyond immediate crisis response, Dan has continued to champion refugee integration in Northern Virginia. His leadership has expanded RAFT initiatives, focusing on ESL instruction for adults and literacy programs for Afghan refugee youth, benefiting over 150 adults and 60 students, respectively. His collaborative approach, which, if you haven't noticed, collaboration is a theme tonight. We are all here and all successful because we work together across silos, public, private, NGO. That's what makes us strong, and that's what brings us all here tonight. Anyway, lost my spot. His collaborative approach with area resettlement agencies and community partners has not only furnished homes for 250 families, but also facilitated donations exceeding $1.2 million to support their resettlement. Can you please give a round of applause for that? Tonight, we will guide our discussion alongside esteemed panelists who are leaders in their fields of refugee resettlement and advocacy. Please join me in welcoming Dan Altman and our distinguished panelists whose full bios you can read in the program. We have Ahmad Amiri, Resettlement Manager at REACT DC. Next, Dan. Rod Conrad, Director for Processing at the International Rescue Committee, our partners for RNP. Iqbal Najimi, Regional Outreach and Programs Director at the Black Feather Foundation, one of our partners, and Casey Yari, Director of the Afghan Voices of Hope Project. Together they bring individual insights and experiences that will enrich our understanding of the challenges and opportunities in refugee resettlement today. We look forward to an engaging and enlightening discussion. Dan, take it away.
And we have limited the presentations to 45 minutes each, followed by questions and answers. I had a 35-minute Fidel Castro-esque speech I was going to give to start. First of all, thank you all very much. We're going to start out the panel by having a brief presentation from each of the speakers. I have a few questions, and then if we have time left in our allotted 30 minutes, you all may ask questions. So let's begin with Peace Lutheran, and we'll ask her to share some of her experiences with us.
Okay, thank you. I guess I'm the only woman in the panel tonight. So thank you for that. I think being a refugee the second time is important to understand. Experiencing forced marriage in Afghanistan, losing your father, and who got killed by the Taliban. You're going back to Afghanistan, right? You are trying to work there and be part of the development. And you become a refugee again because you're forced to leave. In the past 2.5 years, after I was pushed to leave Afghanistan, me and my colleague who is in the room here, Laura, we knocked so many doors, from France to Poland, to Ireland, to Canada, to the United States. We knocked the doors of people who experienced what I experienced. The reason I knocked the doors to talk to these people and collect their stories was because we wanted to grieve together. We just wanted to process the collapse. We just wanted to have a place where we could listen to each other, where we could be friends, where we could cry together. Out of my experience, listening to so many stories, collecting more than 230 stories of shared experiences, I think there is a challenge I see. And I think that this is a very safe place to share, is that I'm really happy that we are supporting so many women and children who are prioritized in the resettlement process in the United States and other countries. But I think our male friends are suffering. I think they're suffering from certain things. One, I'm the only woman here in the panel, but I'm speaking for men from Afghanistan. They are suffering because they lost their identity. One, they are suffering because they lost the authority over the decision making. They are suffering because they think that modern people who need to support them, right, and listen to them. I see that in the Afghan men community. In order, I think, to focus on a healthy family to be part of our community, I think it's time, the stories that I collected, interactions I had, times that we Afghan men have to be crying with me, is telling me that it's a time after 2.5 years. As Ambassador said, Doha is coming forward. This is a very challenging time for us, and August 15 is coming up. I think it's a time that we a little bit change our strategic and approach to also help our male friends who are also living here in these communities. That is my experience of collecting stories, and this is a privilege to have so many of them. But I think what we deserve as an Afghans are that we need to grieve, and we need to process it, and we have to talk about it, we have to think about it, so that we feel free. If we don't take that grief, if we don't process it, I think we'll have a very challenging life in the United States. I have so many stories to share. I'd love to, share it another time.
I'm Rod Conrad. I'm the Director for Processing at the International Rescue Committee. I am so happy to be here and to be working with REACT DC. The reason that I'm so happy is not just because it's such a wonderful organization with such great people, but something in my work that I think about a lot is capacity, the capacity of our nation to accept refugees and assignees to come here. And the main challenge of this year in our space has been simply not having the capacity on the ground to receive all the people that we'd like to. We're supposed to, the plan is to receive 125,000 refugees and something over 30,000 SIVs this year as well. If you don't know what SIV is, I'll explain it after. But we simply don't have that capacity. Post-pandemic, housing has become expensive. Seyoum touched on the cost of resettling people in the Nova area, and it's the same around the country. It's a real challenge. And together, all 10 20,000 now, but that's still a gap of 25,000 people. That's a lot of people. That's a lot of people. And the thing is that those people could be here. We have the ability to get them here in the overseas system. And something when we talk to our colleagues at the State Department about, something that we're all well aware of, is the fact that there are people who are ready to come. They're ready to come. They've been waiting for years, especially folks in Africa. Some of them have been waiting for over 10 years to have an opportunity to come to the U.S. And now we have the ability to do it, but we don't have the capacity. And that's where partners like REACT are so important. You know, we're working hard to expand our capacity and allow those people to come here. REACT is doing it. That's great. Starting small, going to grow to be a mighty operation over the years. And yeah, that's something that's really hard for me to know and for our partners to know. It's just that there's so many people. There's such a great need in the world right now. We have the desire to fill it. We asked the Biden administration as RAs for the number that we are expecting to receive this year, and we're just not able to do it in that race. So we continue the journey, and we hope to get as close as we can this year. And hopefully next year we can get all the way to that number. Thanks.
Good afternoon, everybody. It's a pleasure to be here. I would like to first off introduce myself. My name is Iqbal, and I used to work with the Afghan government, Islamic Republic of Afghanistan, some different sectors, security, strategic studies, and last job I had was a diplomat. It turned out a bit different. When I went to deploy to UAE, I received a couple of days later 18,000 of Afghans who were working with the government, international community, particularly youth projects in Afghanistan. The Black Feather Foundation, the veterans over there, the founder of this organization, Joseph Robert III, who is a good friend, they went and rescued these people. And over there, you know, I will tell you the real, how the refugee sees being a refugee. Refugee, I don't know how, I see some people I myself as a refugee. If you really see how refugee is, the first generation of refugee is just being lost. They're alive, but honestly speaking, I'm talking with people on an everyday or daily basis. They are alive, but their soul is dead. But they're just seeking refuge for different countries just for their kids' future. I would like to share some figures here. We had 3.5 million refugees before the fall of the Afghan government, but now we have 5.3 million. Right after the fall of the government, 1 million people went to Iran. 1 million. It's not easy, just if you count people, it's a lot. 600,000 people went to Pakistan to seek refuge. 6,000 went to Uzbekistan, and 13,000 went to 6,000 to Tajikistan, and 13,000 to Uzbekistan. There are 3.5 around 3 million internal displaced people, refugees in Afghanistan. All because of war. The main reason is war. And that, you know, nobody wants to leave their house. I myself left my house. My clothes are there. My books are there, but I cannot go there. It's not just me, it's everybody you see it. So I won't talk about other stuff, but one thing I would like to ask there, I see resettlement agencies here that they help this Afghan community, whoever comes, the newcomers, they were the one who fight against terrorism. They were the one fighting in the front line, along with the youth allies, with having strategic national interest. But sometimes they always complain from the resettlement agency's services. I know there are some problems with valid reasons that the agencies cannot provide those services. But understanding that who are they and why are they there. Today we are having this peaceful environment here talking. It's because of them that they were there fighting for days and nights to prevent another 9/11. And I request this, that I'm trying to be a voice of my people here. I'm connecting, I'm talking with people here. I see people, one of the problem is that there's lack of awareness, that they don't know most of their rights when they come here. When I come here first, my roommate, he was sick for a few days and he didn't have the Medicaid to go to the hospital. And he waited and he kept calling his caseworker, but the caseworker wasn't responding. Until after a month we found out that we could take him to the hospital and to process the paperwork later on, but we didn't know that. And I feel like I know everybody has a heart to help these people, they're there. Just a little bit more hard work would be appreciated by everybody. Because they were the one that why your kids are going to school with peace today. Thank you.
First of all, let me welcome all of you and thank you for this opportunity. As Amy mentioned, my name is Ambassador and I'm the Resettlement Manager for REACT DC in Loudoun County. And I would like to begin my talk or speech with a poem of great poet Sadi Shirazi. Everyone knows first I want to read it in Dari, then I will translate it for you. It says, بنی آدم اعضای یکدیگرند. It means that human beings are members of a whole. که در آفرینش ز یک گوهرند. In creation of one intent and sorrow. چو عضوی بدل داورد روزگار. If one member is afflicted with pain, دیگر عضوها را نماند قرار. It means other member and easily will remain. This is why we are here. This is why did we start from somewhere. When I was in Afghanistan, I have worked more than 9 years for U.S. Embassy in Kabul with different programs. And I was very happy. It was a dream for me that, okay, one day when I receive my visa or SIP, I will go to the United States, big camp or land of opportunity. I will spend some time with my family and I will find a job. Then I will continue my education. After August 15, the darkness of period of Afghanistan, 18, I escaped from there. After Afghanistan collapsed, when I arrived to the United States, I know no one was completely ready for huge number of refugees in the United States, like 1,000 in 2021. And I was in a hotel for a month. And I have 3 angels, 3 daughters. They were with me. And I was confused and I was gave up. And I said, I'm down. I went down 100%. We arrived in a hotel even when I went to the reception and I asked, he said, what do you want? I said, I don't know. Because I was not aware. Someone sent me there. I realized that someone sent me here, booked me over, and I went there. I said, I don't know, maybe someone booked a room for me. I said, what's your name? Then I found the room there. For a while I was there when my kids somehow, they were not we have lots of issues in the bases or Qatar especially. And I called someone named Zahra Salar. And I really appreciate it. And I was really upset and I said, I need to come to your office and I want to talk with someone. Then I went to there and I meet Zahra. Actually, not first Zahra, someone else. I said, who is your manager? Probably it's human nature. Everyone needs to talk with someone or maybe boss. And she said, I'm the boss or manager, whatever you need, so what do you want? need someone to talk with me, what the refugee need, what the newcomers in the United States need. And after that, thank you so much, Zahra. I never ever forget not only Zahra, College and also all my colleagues, friends, relatives, and family that they're working shoulder to shoulder to help the refugee newcomers to the United States. I came through the situation. I know what's the feeling, what's the meaning to be a refugee somewhere. Then I decided I forgot my dream to continue my education, to be with my family. There's lots of people who are coming from Afghanistan. They need us. They need someone to talk with. They need someone to be with them. I know like lots of people, they're only physically in the United States right now. But mentally they are back in Afghanistan. We have our family, we have our colleague, we have, let's say, my classmate, my family, relatives, everyone is there. And every day they keep calling me and asking. I'm helpless about them. I can't do anything right now for them, but I'm happy that I can do something here in the United States. Then I became a case manager and I started working with the refugee. As a family, it was not about 90 days officially case. Still they keep calling me. And I'm very happy to do something for them. Then I began as a coordinator, then resettlement manager. And I'm happy and I'm really thankful each of you here that's supporting our refugees, supporting our newcomers, and we will be with them and we will show them how to live. And they have a right of living, they have a right of freedom, they are free, and that's a long story, and I want to cut it, and thank you so much, thank you.
So thank you very much. I have a few questions for the panel. So Gisa, we'll start with you. Wanted to ask you to tell us how you have been able to manage the emotional journey that you've been through, either as a refugee or coming here to the United States.
I think that is a hard question to ask and an important one to ask. Because I think 2.5 years ago, it would be extremely difficult to talk about the emotional journeys because we're still in a shock and we physically and mentally didn't process it. Neither me as a woman, nor all my male friends. What was the process like? But I don't think we understand it. I don't think we're still in this process of resettling in a new country that we don't even found time to grieve. And we haven't found time to reflect. And looking at our 2.5 years of life in these countries, to look back and see what we actually lost. What are the best ways to go forward and who are supporting us here? I think everybody is still lost. I think among that lost, there is a hope too. I think among all the other challenges, because of the refugee experience, because you have never had the time to process, right, of what you went through and the traumas that you are carrying with you. You know what happened is that out of 5 interviews I contacted in Ireland, 3 of them are about separation because of the experience and the grief and the traumas they experienced. They couldn't carry their personal lives. The stories I'm hearing from Canada, there is a lot of splits, a lot of divorce. In the United States, there is a huge women Facebook group that all these women are coming together and they're planning to go and divorce, right? You're looking at all these samples here and there. I think the most important aspect of the process in the refugee life is that no one actually prioritized grief and process it together. I think we are so busy finding jobs. We are so busy, I don't know, in so many other things, get education. but I think we are not, especially in the older generation. Where the hope is coming to me, I think personally. It's about grief, the process, but I think where the hope is coming. But I think out of all these stories we have collected, I think the hope is the stories from the young women that are learning how to resist, right, this whole process. There's really, you know it, I think you experience it, that you see young women traveling by themselves and trying to find their ways to live and get education. I think there are corners that you would see that these people come together, grieve together, drink tea together, still try to find a way to get education, because that's what we didn't have in Afghanistan, right? I think that's beautiful to see. But at the same time, there is a generation among us that I think is still in shock, and we really don't know how to process. I think I call it for action, and I think if you can help, you know what you can do for all of them, especially those who are in the nature, one thing you can do is that talk to an Afghan man and say, let's go for a hike. Especially the military men and our soldiers. Believe it or not, ask them, let's go once a week for a hike. That's it, that's all they need, right? They need to be distracted from this whole dilemma of what they experienced in the past 2.5 years. My last point, I think when we talk in the resettlement and this process, I think one of the other things we really need to be sensitive about is about these divisions and about these political divisions we have experienced back home. We carry it with us here in these countries. I think if we will not be sensitive toward all these other backgrounds that these refugees went through, that's their stories, that's their identities, if we don't legitimize it, if we don't recognize it, we may not be able to help them well. And then you do a survey 5 years later, you say, well, who are the people we helped? You know, what generation, what ethnic group, what language they spoke. If you will not pay attention to that, you notice that there's communities that are suffering so much. I hope it's not only scattered here and there, but I think this is coming from a personal experience. And let's prioritize it. Let's talk to them. Let's drink tea with them. Let's give Afghan men the opportunity to open themselves, because they didn't have that opportunity in Afghanistan. They are not having it here. They are suffering. That's going to increase domestic violence inside their houses. You know it better than me. I hope I answered that.
So, thank you. So the next question is for Iqbal, and I want to ask you, is there a pivotal moment you can think of in your recent experience that sort of was a moment, an inflection point, something powerful for you that sort of helped you get a new direction and realize something important?
Thank you, Dan. There's a lot, but I would think of two of them. You know, the first time I saw, again, when the Black Feather evacuated 18,000, more than 18,000 people to Abu Dhabi, it's a country where you cannot protest, you cannot strike, because there's a monopoly, there's a kingdom right there. But if anybody protests, there's a death penalty for that. But I see people, they strike. Not one time, not two times. But the generosity of the president of the UAE kept them like, it's okay. Because they were tired, they were bored, they were in a huge depression. And it shaped too much of my understanding of being a refugee. On personal wise, when, you know, back again, when we were in the embassy and then we were lost what to do to ourselves. We cannot go back to our country. We will be a high-level target, but if we go, that's an issue. We cannot stay in the UAE because they have not signed the Convention of 1951 to give refuge as the US did. So what to do? There was an only option that we talked with the US Embassy. His Excellency John Murphy was back in the embassy. And he helped us with giving us a P1, priority 1 casework. But the pivotal moment, here it comes, Australian State Department gave me the travel document. Not even a visa to my passport. And I felt like, this is a hard moment. I look at it differently. Like, your passport with the country you come from is a diplomatic passport that you could travel with diplomatic community around the world. But that passport is no longer valid, but you have to get a travel document. And I felt like you were stateless. You don't belong to your own country. And you're seeking a refuge in another country. Of course, thanks to his government for providing us, we were allies. We had strategic national interests, and we were here. We fought together for a shared mission. But the pivot moment was I saw the travel document. It was so different. It was so different. The feelings I had, leaving your house. We had one house. We lived differently in Afghanistan. Brothers lived together. They get married. They lived under one roof with a big house. A small family of us. Now we were 3 families. So it's difficult to understand. So that was the pivotal moment. I hope I answered the question.
It's a great answer.
Thank you.
Resettlement manager, we thought we would ask you, what does resettlement mean to you? And how do we do it? How do we help people establish a new life here while maintaining their cultural identity in their homeland?
Thank you for asking. Resettlement job is not only job, it's to be together. Sometimes it's really difficult when I even think about what we had, what we came through. So I can say we will build a life here through our resettlement. It's not only resettlement, it's not only to provide them a housing or basic thing and leave them away and say, okay, now we are done. It's to be with them, to feel them, what they need, what they want. We open here, this office, not church, this office with Sarah, me, Nuri, and two other case managers. And we had only like 600 slides. The walk-in situation was completely different and difficult. And we served 1,400 cases in this office. And fortunately, Dan was with us as a supporter. He did a lot in Afghan community, and a lot. Everyone knows like Jirga. And now he's leading a jirga here in the United States. And they did a lot of home stuff, more than 500 to 600. And I had a client, it's a completely different story. He was my classmate back in Afghanistan. Once he came to us and said, he cried and said, I'm done. And I was shocked. He was very, very young, and I said, what happened? He said, I don't want to live. I want to go back to Afghanistan. And we sat together, Nuri remember, and we told him, what do you need? What do you want? The only thing he said is, believe me, he said, I need someone to talk with me. And as he said, like human being in the United States is different. Everyone is working like machines to pay their bill and utilities. And I need someone to talk with me. And I said, okay, I'm here. Right now, he's doing their best, and he's supporting his wife to continue their education somewhere. And I had another client, the same thing. He cried and came and says, we don't have any other place, because the slide was like not that much to support all the walk-ins. And we cried together. When he told me the story that says, my wife is there in Afghanistan, and I'm alone here, I don't know anyone. Only the reason that I came here to Northern Virginia is a community, Afghan community, that I can talk with them, because he had a language barrier. So resettlement means to be with, I can't say client, to be with those people that they need you, not only for 90 days, to be with them till their self-sufficiency. Believe me, all these refugees, especially Afghans, since 2021, 120 or 140,000 people evacuated from Afghanistan. This generation is educated people, teachers, doctors, engineers, and very talented. The only thing that they need, a bright way for them, to show them. Otherwise, in a big country, different culture, different people, no one has the time for anyone. Then they will lose it. So the only thing that I want as a resettlement manager, to feel your client, to feel the people. Ask every individual what they need. We have a different culture. Sometimes it happens that our women in a family or in a couple, they are not allowed to talk. We are here, they have their freedom. We want to let them know, you have your right, you can do anything you want, and we are here to support you for your freedom. Thank you.
So we'll close out with you with a question about, in your experience, what's been the most difficult challenge or decision you've had to make in your role?
Yeah, thanks for that question. Thanks everybody for what you said. I'm going to harp on capacity again a little bit. So here in Nova, I don't know if everybody knows this, but there's something called a placement restriction in place. And what that means is that it's a way to, it's when a community has just had too many rivals and they can't cope, right? And so there needs to be kind of a way to restrict the number of people that come to a community. And so the Nova area had one, and it's the strictest that you can have, right? It was excluding even siblings from being together, which is really tough. And so something that's tough for me on my team, we're the ones that make placement decisions where people will be placed in the country. We always want to ensure as much unity with people's loved ones, friends. It doesn't matter who they want to be with. We want to make that something that they have. And the placement restriction is really tough. And this year has been really tough in terms of capacity. So it's been hard to maintain that primacy, And it's not easy to separate even friends from each other, but in this part of the country, we do have to separate siblings sometimes. And that's really tough. And everybody on this panel, many of you spoke about the feelings of isolation that come with not being with the people you want to be with, right? So that's really tough for me. One thing I can say that's good is very recently that placement restriction was loosened, and that is not a coincidence that React DC came online at that time, the exact moment, and once React came online, the placement restriction was loosened, and now people can be with their siblings, and that's very much thanks to Sarah and the team here. So thank you so much for coming on and doing that and letting people be together. It's a big deal.
So to be respectful of time, we've used our allotted time, but I wanted to just reflect for a minute about, I think what we heard, right? First of all, some really powerful lessons, and for each of you, telling us what your real feelings are about some of the challenges and frustrations you've had, and then also the impact that other people can have to help folks, right? And I think that speaks to what everybody in this room is committed to, which is so powerful, and why we're all sitting here together at 9:15 on a weeknight talking about this topic, because people here are so passionate. So thank you for sharing your voices with us. I think we'll have some time at Maple, so if you want to ask the panelists more questions, they'll be available. We'll turn the floor back over to Devin. Or ask Devin. We'll turn the floor back over to whoever comes in.
Thank you everyone for being here this evening. My name is Paul Kike, I'm a board member with React DC. And I did not, I'm new to this space in a way, but like many other Americans, I saw the horrifying news in 2021 about the fall of Afghanistan. And like many other people, I said, what can I do? And what we found in React is an opportunity to get involved and to be people of welcome. So a group from my church formed a sponsor circle where we hosted an Afghan couple to move and settle here in the Virginia area, and I wanted to stay involved. So that's a little bit about me and my background, and the reason why I say that is that I'm encouraging you as we close tonight to stay involved. Everyone is here tonight because you care. You came out in a busy June holiday week to be here this evening, so we know that you care. But there is still so much work to be done. As Rod said, we have the ability and the desire, but we still need to build capacity. REACT is standing in the gap, and we are saying we are going to help build capacity to welcome more people to this country that want to be here. And so that's really where I want to close tonight, is to encourage you to stay involved and to really think about how you might step up. Think about your sphere of influence, who might be interested and who might want to stay involved. To close this, I want to extend a heartfelt thank you to everyone who's already donated to REACT DC. Your generosity holds profound power and transforms lives. With this new resettlement and a reception and placement office opening this month, your support is that capacity building. Your support is the difference between people coming here to be reunited with their families that couldn't have come here before. Your donations go directly to providing essentials like bikes for transportation, personal favorite of mine, hygiene kits for health and dignity, bedding, comprehensive support for comfortable living spaces. Each contribution that you make, large or small, plays a crucial role in offering stability, security, and hope to those who have overcome immense challenges. Your generosity is not just a donation, it's a lifeline. It fosters a sense of belonging and empowerment within this community. Together, we can make a tangible difference and extend a warm welcome to those seeking refuge and opportunity. If you haven't had the chance to donate yet, please consider doing so. If you want to get involved and encourage your friends to get involved, please reach out to us. We'd love to meet with you and help you get involved in REACT DC. If you want to donate tonight, you can find the donation link or scan the QR code in the program. Every penny tonight helps build that capacity to help our reception and placement office here in Loudoun County. Thank you all once again for your support and compassion. I was personally just so touched by the many folks who shared their personal stories of displacement. Can we have some snaps or round of applause for those folks? Your bravery and your courage are so inspiring to all of us. Thank you so much for being here too. We are so touched by the contributions that you make to this community. Together, we can ensure that refugee families in our community receive the support they need to build their lives. Thank you all for coming tonight. Welcome to continue socializing in the reception hall, and have a good night.